All right.
Hello, everyone. This is Maggie Carey coming to you live for Master It Monday. On today's episode, I am joined by the Beast, Rob Genovesi from Unleash My Beast brand. We'll be getting to know him a little bit more. I'd like to welcome you all to the broadcast, and if you would like, please pop in a little comment below. Let us know you're here. This is an interactive workshop, so please feel free. Rob is an excellent resource for branding, so he'll be giving us some valuable tips on how to make the most of our brands and how to get the most promotion for less time, money, and stress. So without further ado, welcome, Rob. How are you today?
Good, Maggie. Thank you for having me. This is cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So Rob and I met through Master Networks. It's a networking organization. Both of us are area directors for the region, which means we help grow chapters because both of us focus on building businesses and helping people get the word out about the business. This was a great opportunity for the two of us to connect and share tons of information about how we can help these businesses really promote themselves and, of course, establish brands that are unforgettable. Rob, can you just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. So I am by training, by education, a graphic designer. I've been a graphic designer for quite a number of years and spent a lot of my years in corporate jobs training and leading creative teams, managing them. That was a lot of years of pain because it's always within the confinements of what the company wanted you to do. And in the creative field, you kind of want to bust out. And I always wanted to own my own company. And so that required a lot of skills I didn't have as a young guy. I was a very quiet, very shy guy. And I just couldn't even carry a conversation with people. Honestly, I was pretty clueless. So it spent a lot of years overcoming my fears of talking to people, developing business skills, reading a ton of books, hundreds of books, a lot of seminars, some coaches and mentors to help me along the way. And it wasn't till later in life. I mean, it was just 5 years ago when the timing was right. And so I left the job that I had. When I say I left it, they asked me to leave. So I left. But I knew that was coming. So I knew layoffs were inevitable. In the creative industry, the older you get, you are pretty much unmarketable. Mm-hmm. And so I've been through 2 layoffs before that, which prompted me to go into my own business. And so I set myself up so when I did get laid off, I had the business going. That's what I did for 4 years. I had a job and built my company. And then when I got laid off in 2019, in July, I just hit the ground running and kind of never looked back. And it's a great ride. I feel so free. Yeah. And I'm having the time of my life just talking about branding for whoever will listen.
Yes, and we are listening for sure. So, Rob, today's topic, we're going to be talking about personal branding, correct?
Yeah, I want to talk about personal branding and putting yourself out there and maybe clarifying what branding actually does, because people want to get their brand out there, get their company out there, but branding is not exactly just putting it out there. It's a few other things. It's actually, it entails more of sticking in people's brains. It's less about advertising, which some people think, branding is just, repeatedly putting your logo out there, and people think your logo is your brand, but your logo is not your brand. The name of your company is not your brand. The colors you wear, these are not your brand. These are all elements of a brand. And so as a branding coach, what I do is I help take all those elements and I package them together intentionally. So when they're amplified through the design, the language, all your social media, in all your advertising, your marketing, it comes across as a cohesive package. So when it hits somebody's brain, it sticks and it stays, because the big myth is that people want they want people to buy from them. So they go, well, how do you How do you get people to buy from you? And the answer is you don't. People buy when they're ready. So the only thing you can do is time it. And so how do you get the precise timing of somebody's ready to buy? You're one of the options. So what makes them pick you? The only way they're going to pick you is if when they go, I'm ready to buy, and they recall your company just like that. And branding helps it stick there so that when timing is right, they will think of you. That's what branding really does.
So one of the things, my goals with Master It Monday is to give businesses, whether they're small, medium, or large, some tips to get them to, whatever it is. And today's topic is personal branding. So what would you say somebody is starting fresh, what would be the first thing that they would need to do in your mind's eye in branding? What should they have solid?
So I may differ from other brand strategists in what I'm about to say, but I don't believe that if you're just starting up your company, I don't believe you need branding. I think you need sales. You need revenue, because when you're just starting out, see, the whole idea behind branding is what I do is I get into the core of who you are and why you started your business. And that is your brand is in there. Then I just help strategize it and amplify it through the visuals and the language so that it sticks in people's minds. So when you start up, you don't really know exactly what you're going to do. You may change. Your audience may change. Your ideal customer may change. You may just go in a little bit different direction. If you brand right from the get-go, meaning you get branded, but you don't know who you are. So that means somebody actually cleverly came up with a brand for you, which is not real. They gave you the logo and the website and all the copy and all that. But what happens when you decide, you know what, that's not really who we are. Now we know who we are. Now what do? And you just wasted a lot of money and time. So I always tell people, and I turn down clients, I'll say, look, you're just starting out. Go get sales. You don't need branding to get sales. You need, a good product or service at a fair price, and you need to be able to sell it. So go sell it.
That's their first step. That's their first step then, right? Is to get established and get their things going, which is incredibly valuable, because sometimes we get lost in the colors and the brands and the colors and the logos and and I think one of the most powerful things you said to me is, what's to get your, I shouldn't steal your thunder here. There was one thing that we talked about the brand, and it was your mission statement and your vision statement, and to keep those things. So that's something that people can develop when, what is their mission statement, right? Does that speak to your brand as well?
Yeah. So as you know, I do that with a lot of people. I always ask them first off, I said, do you have a mission statement? And some people do, or what they think is one. And some people don't. The reason I ask about a mission statement is because I believe if you don't know what you're looking to do, what is your purpose of even being in business? If you don't know what that purpose is, then you're going to have a hard time actually going in a direction that will lead you to the place you think you're going to go. So the mission statement is exactly that. It's what is your mission? What is your company going to achieve in this world? Who is it going to serve? How is it going to benefit them? And how are you going to do it? So it's key. And I always start there because that's setting your compass, basically.
And I think that you have this kind of like boilerplate thing that somebody can follow, right? Where it's almost like it reminded me of Mad Libs.
Yeah. So the mission statement, well, I guess there's different ways of approaching writing a mission statement. I don't think there's any one way, but the way I learned it was through a framework that said, you basically have these three parts to it. It's, what do you intend to do? Who do you intend to serve, and how do you do that? And then what's the benefit of doing that? So there's three parts to it. And once you can answer those three parts, then a person can really isolate their direction. And because and people think that the mission statement is some nice thing you put in it's a plaque and you hang it up on the wall So when your customers come in, they can see that, you know, you have some intelligence. To me, it's not really genuine unless you're living it. I always say the mission statement is for the business owner. It's not for the customer. It's so you don't go off track.
Right. And I found that to be key in making decisions for my business. What is, you know, does this speak to my mission? There's lots of opportunities. I mean, I've got 35 years experience in IT, right? I can do a ton of stuff. But if it doesn't meet my mission, why am I doing it? If it, you know, so just to take a pause here, we have some live listeners. If you would like to leave comments in the section below, we will, on Facebook, we will be pulling them up, and you can ask questions to Rob. He's great at providing valuable advice, and you have him for free for the next 20 minutes. So please make sure you use him for that. This is a valuable service that we're happy to provide to the community for free in our dealing with COVID right now, which we're starting to delve out into the world. Which brings me to a point about putting yourself out there with branding. How do you see people have adjusted during COVID? How have they changed what they're doing? Have you seen any better or worse stories that might help our listeners?
Yeah, you know, to be sensitive to the COVID situation, I understand that it's hitting people hard in different ways, whether it be their health or, you know, losing jobs. And so being sensitive to that and understanding, I do want to say there's a flip side to that coin that says there's a lot of opportunity. There's going to be good things that come out of this if you can put it in perspective. So from a business perspective, I see people doing things like getting online more. You know, with COVID, we've basically become confined to our homes. So what are people doing? They're going online even more. And instead of just consuming, I see people who, if they run their own business, or even if they don't, if they have a job, they're going to do something. Maybe they're furloughed. Maybe they're just, you know, working from home and they're not as busy. They're doing something else, but they're getting on social media and they're doing more video. People are getting more comfortable on Zoom. So we're seeing more live things like this, people providing information live and people tuning in and interacting. And this was the opportunity. And this is when you asked me to do this, you said, what do you want to talk about? And I wanted to talk about putting yourself out there. And I recommend this to everybody. And look, I know that this is not easy for a lot of people. A lot of people cannot get in front of a camera and talk. I know you have a show background, you come from the dance world. I don't. I just kind of, I'm one of those people who couldn't talk and felt really uncomfortable in front of the camera, but knew I wanted a successful business and had no money. So I just I got in front of the camera and I just started filming these 2-minute videos that I would post on LinkedIn and Facebook. And the amount of exposure that I got from doing the videos has made all the difference. And so I say, when I say put yourself out there, I mean literally get in front of the camera, tell the people what you know and what's your philosophy about your work, and they will be attracted to it.
Right. And I've been one of my, I had a COVID back burner project list. I know that sounds god awful, but because I wasn't traveling and I wasn't, all of that found time was the time that I was using to learn new things. And I realized as I was learning, I needed to give back by teaching as well. And I combined the two by doing video. So I'm doing these live. I had done, some private sessions via Zoom. I'm building my YouTube channel. These lives go on YouTube, learning new tools like StreamYard is the one that we're using now, and how to create all these fun graphics and, to give,
hey, nice plug. Thank you.
So things, I still have to work out the bugs because you can see here, look, it's not about being perfect with your video. It's about providing these valuable services to the rest of the world. We're both B2Bs, right? We both service businesses. Mm-hmm. Everything I'm consuming about video right now is that it is what people are watching. Think about it, right? Whether they're thumbing through what's going to stop them, what's thumb worthy, what's going to make them stop and watch. And video, think of Facebook right now. Facebook, 11% of all Facebook posts are video. 11%. Think about that.
Of everything.
Of everything on Facebook. Now, look, I didn't go out and panel all of these people, but this is statistics. There's Statica.com. They do all of this funky stuff in the background, and it's great. And speaking of video, I have to tell you, visit Rob's website. We'll put that ticker down there. Go to his YouTube channel. Now, I've got to tell you, I watched his first video, and I was hysterical because he is so engaging. Rob, do your beast voice.
Yeah.
Love the beast voice.
This is where the showmanship comes in, because here's what I hear from a lot of people. Because I always recommend, but people go, what do I do to get myself out there? I said, put yourself out there, do video, because like you just said, 11% of all Facebook posts are video, and video is the medium of choice that people want to consume, right? They want to read, but they'll look at a picture more than they want to read, but they'll look at a video more than they want to look at a picture. And people will go, but I don't like my voice. I don't have a good presence. And I go, look, we all start out the same way. Unless you were a little child who was trained in showmanship, like Maggie, maybe you were, because I knew you were on stage, but you're trained how to be somewhat grandiose and how to project in volume and exaggerated movements, because the stage, is so big. And so what I did was I made my first video, and it just sounded like this. And I was just talking, and I thought I was being really animated. And I watched it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't put this out there. So I started studying. Look, Google's our friend. I started studying, how do you create more engaging videos? And this feels really weird, but every time I get in front of a video, I have to change my voice a little bit to create emphasis. So the hand gestures go, and the volume goes up, and the voice gets gravelly, and the face goes in and out, because that's what's engaging. And it's, it's kind of who I am in a way, me stressing my point. So my personality comes through, but that's what you have to do to be a little bit more engaging. So
right.
Look,
and it's
part
so
of it is showmanship.
And it's so fun. And I think that's what look, you want people to watch past that first 3 seconds of your video, right? So they have to be engaging. And I was hysterical because Rob does these little clicks, and he'll be like this in your face, and he'll come back, and he'll go forward. And I had to rewatch it because I was so entertained with how he was doing what he was doing that I wasn't listening to what he was doing. The beauty of the internet. I just rewinded it. And we also don't want to be that person that gets fast forwarded. Like, I hope anybody who's watching this doesn't watch it on rewind and turn this into the Chipmunks, because you can speed up so if you get somebody who's talking very slowly, you can speed them up a little bit on YouTube, right? You can do 1.5, 2 point, and they'll be zip right along. So things like that, keeping in mind that it's keeping entertained, educational, informative. Right now I'm trying to get my cat not to walk in front of my computer. These are things, and she
there we go.
All right. See, and that's a live TV. And that's she's still here. And that's the process, like things that we have to deal with, right? Yeah. So if it happens, it happens. Get over it and just keep going. Like, when I first joined Master Networks, my soundbite was horrific. It took time, it took practice, and I learn every day. So great resources online. Of course, the thing, the generation coming up, what do they do when they want to learn something? They just go to YouTube. YouTube it. I just YouTube. I want to learn something. I just go to YouTube. We have a member of Master Networks who has over 40,000 followers on his YouTube channel. This is somebody who is not a tech person. This is a plumber, right? The expert plumber. Go look him up. He's amazing, right?
Go figure.
And you want to talk about, we were talking about his brand one day, and he's got this very distinct mustache, and that's part of his logo. And but it's about him and his generosity of spirit. one of the things that we agree on, and I don't mean to speak for you, but it's more about giving than receiving. The more you can engage your customers and provide them with free advice or information or be a valuable resource, then they're going to keep coming back to you. Oh, what does Rob have to say today about branding? You know, what can I implement in these nice, simple, easy, manageable chunks of data, right? Not this, you know, half an hour video that basically just is people rambling, right? So if we're doing something, and we have just guys, if you're listening and following and you have questions for Rob, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below, and we'll be happy to answer them. And look who we have visiting today.
Hey, Jason.
Jason, you want to talk about a man who knows
he knows a few things about marketing.
He knows a lot about marketing. And I've actually, you know, part of Master Networks, again, I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but we get free training, and Jason has this training in the back office that I've been devouring. So thank you for joining us, Jason. But that is kind of where we're sitting right now, right? I'm home, working at home. I am doing as much as I possibly can to build my skill set so that when things start opening up, I'm hitting the ground running. I'm not going to have to gear up again, right? It's a matter of getting your stuff, having these things. If you haven't had a mission statement, get one. do your due diligence on your business. Read a marketing book. Go to Rob's YouTube channel. Find out what he's talking about and see how you can implement. How long is your standard YouTube video?
So they're only about 3 minutes, and you know, I like how you put it with you know, people needing to manage the information in chunks and giving away the information. And you know, I heard a long time ago that necessity is the mother of invention. And one of the great things about starting your own business with nothing is you get very resourceful. Now, I've met people who have had financial resources, and they go out and they buy, you know, a great microphone and headsets, and they get themselves a new laptop computer, and they put on these great backgrounds and everything, and more power to them. I took my iPhone and I put it on a tripod with a rubber band because it was a broken tripod. I stood in front of a window and I just started talking. And because I didn't want it to be boring and I didn't have it down yet, I learned about this method. I think it's called the there's a method of editing a video. I think it's called like jump cutting or something like that, where if I say something and I'm forming a thought, that pause right there has got to go. So when you watch my videos, there are no pauses, because I also learned that if you give people a pause, you give them the opportunity to scroll away. So if you never pause, they're glued to your video.
So you don't breathe at all.
So, you know, I cut it out in the editing process. I just clip all the blank spots and I just push them all together. And that's why it's 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes of me seemingly nonstop talking. And what it does is it provides an energy and it provides a nonstop flow of information. Now, you said it before. I'm giving away my best stuff to people because I'm saying, look, you can do some of this. You can't do it all, but you can do some of it yourself. And here's what it is. And as far as, you know, the concept of putting yourself out there, my whole idea was this. Like, I got no money for advertising and marketing, right? The only way somebody is going to hire you as a professional, they want to lower their risk. They want to know, is this person really going to be able to get results for me? They don't know that. How would they ever know that without hiring you? Well, here's what you do. You film a 3-minute video about your thought process and you put it out every week for a year, because that's what I did. People think like, oh, I love your videos and I appreciate, you know, the kudos, but they didn't start out good. And I did it every week for a year before I started getting noticed. And so you start picking up these little ways, and then you tweak this one thing, you tweak that one thing until your videos are watchable and people don't want to, you know, they're not bored to death. And you're constantly giving away your thought process. When people know how you think, it lowers the perceived risk in their mind, and they feel like, oh, okay, I get where this guy's coming from. Maybe I'll give them a shout and see. And that's how you get them to talk to you. That's why you put yourself out there.
And we've got some great comments here from Zany Clark of the Allstate Agency, and we have Melanie Sessa. Yeah, Melanie, we'll do a morning show. Not made for prime time, right? Thank you, guys. We're very interested in finding out, to Rob, how can people, your YouTube channel is very engaging, and it's got valuable information. You're a member of which chapter of Master Networks on a weekly basis?
So I'm with the Mount Pleasant chapter over in Westchester, but I live in Rockland.
And you live, so you travel over the bridge.
That's right. Because the one guy that invited me, only one person ever invited me, and that's my buddy Pasquale Palumbo. So, you know, there's a sense of loyalty there. I would never transfer out.
And I'm glad you're not. And the other thing that, so you have, sorry, my cat again, you have information on your website people can get, but is there anything else where people can reach out to you other than, of course, going to Unleash My Peace Brand?
Well, I always tell people your website is your hub. And I don't even put my phone. I mean, I put my phone number on things, but I never expect a phone call, because if you want to call me, you can find it on my website. If you want to email me, you can find it on my website. If you want to link up with me and follow me on any social media, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. You can go to my website and all the links are right there at the bottom, and you can follow me anywhere there, because to me, that's where people go anyway. I mean, this is what I know. I know that as soon as somebody goes, hey, you should try so-and-so, the first thing they do is go to their website, and they get an impression, and hopefully it's a good one.
So this is one of my points I make ad nauseum. Okay. Everyone that's listening can agree with me. You will get your best clients, maybe 75 to 80, maybe even more percent come from referrals, word of mouth. Okay, great, that's fine. But don't tell me that they're not looking at your website, your social media. They need to learn, no matter who recommends you, they're looking you up on social media. So you have to have and your website, you have to have both a strong social media and website presence that engages your audience, that gives them the information they need to know. And remember, with social media, it's not all about what you're selling. One of the things we were talking about doing video, right? Pick a problem that your clients have, okay? I don't care what it is. Find something. I do a Finally Friday. I had gotten to the point where it was one Friday and I was working so hard, like day after day, dozens of problems faced every day. And I said, I'm just going to go live and I'm just going to riff on something and I'm going to call it Finally Friday. And it became something that I do at the end of the week now, that I do every week, every Friday. And it's one little tip. It's one thing that I help some client through the challenge so that other people can benefit from it. So think about what you have in your business that you can personally brand and put out there that you can help. And if you need any help, you've got Rob. So we've got Rob here. You've got Maggie here. And we're both available to help you. This is like, I'm going to shamelessly self-promote us. But, this is.
And can I just say something on that note? Because you mentioned about branding, sort of branding your process and what you do and how you do it. And that's one of the things that I am very strong with people on. And I tell them, I say, look, what's different about you? And once we get past the misconception that, oh, if I just care enough, that's different. No, you can't just care, and you can't have the best customer satisfaction. You can't, lean on 30 years exclusively in business. It has to be something that's different. So first of all, if you just say that I'm caring and, I love my clients more than anybody and we have high customer satisfaction, the customer's going, so what? Like, They expect you to have that. So that's not a point of differentiation. But what I do find out is when I start digging deeper is there's a process that a person goes through that is uniquely theirs, that they may have culminated from their industry, but they've made it theirs, a slightly different approach. That process is what you brand, because ultimately, if you're the person that people like to deal with, right? We deal with people, not businesses.
Right.
And if you have a certain unique approach, you brand that approach. We actually will go through a naming process for your process, not just your company. We'll name it and we'll brand it and say, look, this is the only company that has this process. And with me, you know, it's obviously it's the Beast brand process. That's the process that I put clients through. So this unique process that nobody else has is what you brand, and it gives people a reason to, number one, they know you've got a process, so trust goes up and risk goes down, and that's what you want. Number two, it gives you credibility. It says, wow, this person actually has, they're not just winging it, right? So sometimes we have this fear that if we hire somebody, they almost seem like they're winging it. But if you've got a solid process, they know that if you've got a process, it's most likely proven that you've had success with other people. Therefore, by extension, they will have success with me. So branding that process is huge for companies. And that's one thing that everybody needs to do. If you don't have a branded process, that is a difference maker right there.
Right. And, you know, so this is taking the time to look at your business, to look how you're servicing your customers, and look how you're showing up for them. You know, just to pop on, Melanie had said, we were talking about looking up. She's like 100%. Melanie has a great background in marketing. She is a killer on social media. She integrates both her personal and her professional, you know, social media, because it's part of her branding is who she is. And Zany, of course, said, you know, yeah, we have to start somewhere. I know Zany hates being on video. I got her on video. I did it. Right, Zany? We got her on video.
Go for it. That's all I say. Just go for it.
And, you know, and stop worrying about what other people are going to think. And look, if I
here's one of my favorite sayings. When people go, because a lot of people say this, they go, well, you know, I don't want to look foolish. I don't want people to see me and think I look stupid. I go, don't worry. They're not watching anyway. Like, yeah. You have your audience, so don't worry about it.
And Gina's like, great thoughts. So through to the thanks, Gina. Yeah, we do. And feel free. We've got another few minutes. Please list any question. If you have a question for Rob or myself, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and we'll address them. But I have very strong opinions about the whole theatrical aspect. Okay, look, yes, I have a background in theater. It's hard to shut me up. I totally get that. But what ends up happening, if it doesn't matter if it's a pro or not. Now, I have a client who did live video, and you know, it's this kind of thing, right? It's walking through, showing her video, and I'm going up and down, right? And that video got so much engagement. What she was recording was great. It was interesting. It was engaging. People wanted to see what was going to happen next. So they were watching it. They were watching it live. Live also ends up doing, you know, having a little bit more engagement sometimes. And then people, if they don't see it live, they can always watch it on a replay. So don't worry about the perfect. Worry about doing it. If you wait for perfection, it isn't going to happen. None of us are perfect. And when you humanize yourself, that makes, I've gained more clients just by being me than by having a jazzy, you know, marketing proposal, right? They're hiring me for my knowledge and my expertise. And also, one of the things I've got, I had Kathleen Troy who told me, Maggie is the friendliest nerd I know. And I was like, oh, I love that. I can't remember if it was nerd or geek now. I have to see what plays better. But that's definitely going to be something I'm going to use in a social media post, because one, it's funny. It's just funny. Two, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm friendly and I'm a geek. But three, it also speaks to the relationship that I've built with her. that it's a comfortable thing. We've got.
Well, here's the thing: you gotta use what you got. Like everybody was given different gifts and talents, but people don't really care as long as you're just being real and being who you are. That's good enough. It's when people try to be something they're not. They try to put on a performance that is not uniquely them. Like when I do the videos, and I appreciate, the kudos on it, but I'm just being who I am. And I'm sure there's people that don't like it, but who cares? That doesn't matter. You like it, you don't like it. It doesn't really matter. I am who I am. So take it or leave it is what I always say. So as long as you're being real, people respond favorably.
Remember what the critic said about Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, yeah.
Drop the mic right there, okay? We've got a question from Melanie. How do you help people break down their process? So many things are second nature.
It's not as difficult as you think. Here's the thing. When I talk to business owners about their process, they go, well, it's just what I do. And because you do it so often, you think, it's just what I do. It's nothing special. It's not really a process. It's just, but that's just it. What you've got to do is you look at how you do things and you just break it down into a methodology, the 4-step program to social media success. Maggie could do something like that. And look, it doesn't really matter exactly what the process is, just as long as you isolate what it is and get it down on paper so you can explain what it is and say, here it is. And here's the biggest, most important part. You got to name it. Like you just name it something. And I did this with a personal trainer client of mine. And, personal trainers, largely they have similar approaches, right? So what's the difference? The good ones, they work with nutrition, they work with weights and whatnot, and they help you get in shape. So the process just has to be named something really simple. It doesn't have to be this, Einstein genius of an approach that nobody's ever heard of before. In fact, it should be simple. Hey, Cameron. And so with him, we called it the Apple method. And Apple was APLE. It was assess, plan, learn, and execute. And it explained each of those steps according to how he approaches it. And because it was so simple, people go, oh, man, I get it, right? That's all people want. They just want to get it. So when you help them get it and you brand the process, now it's uniquely his, so nobody can take it. Now it looks like this guy's got it on lockdown and he's trustworthy.
Right. And I do find, a poor Coach Flo here, she said she just did a live and she said, oh, I was real. I just thought, and
good for you.
I'm sure it wasn't as we are our own worst critics, for sure. We're our own worst critics. So I'm sure it wasn't as horrible as you thought, Flo. And the most important thing, I'm sure people found value in it. And that's what matters, right? It's who you're speaking to. I always say sometimes you cast the net and see where you get, but it's really great if you can kind of isolate and attract those people that are your potential clients. And
I'm going to tell you something right there. With that, I mean, Coach Glow is saying I suck. Here's the thing. Content trumps production value. All right. If your content is really good, forget about how you come across. You can tweak that. Forget about your backgrounds. Like, obviously, I could care less about my background so much. As long as it doesn't look like I got dirty laundry hanging back there or, old apple rotting on the counter there. Your content just has to be very valuable to the person watching it, that they can use it and run with it. And they go, oh, and they just got to like you. So don't worry about it. You keep doing it. And by the way, we know Coach Glow, and so everybody loves her anyway. Coach Glow, nothing to worry about.
There you go. And this is it. Right?
Nobody cares.
And that is a great way to end our session today on Master It Monday, where you can come every Monday at 2:00 at Master It Media and find out more about what's going on. As you can see today, we had an amazing guest, an expert in branding. I'll be bringing in other guests as we go through. If everybody loved Rob, make sure you leave some love and likes and shares in the comments below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Master Media LLC on YouTube. You can follow Rob on his as well. He's got his YouTube channel, And you can find out his information again on his website. And make sure that you help other businesses by liking, sharing, commenting on anything that you've seen that you found a value on any of their social media platforms. It's the way we can help each other grow our businesses, and it's a way of sharing valuable information because people will see you as a resource as well. And my tip for today is make sure when we're talking about personal branding, when you leave a comment, when you leave a review for somebody or a recommendation on LinkedIn, you are also advertising, promoting yourself on these links. Your picture's going to show up, your little blurb is going to show up. This is how you can engage other people. It is a give back. They're happy to receive the information. You get a little cross promotion going on. It's a win-win for everybody. So make sure that you take some time today. I always say if you can leave a review a day, that's always a good thing, or lump them together and do 5 in one. It takes you minutes to leave a recommendation for somebody. Rob, any closing comments you'd like to make?
No, just appreciate people coming by. I hope it was of value, and thank you for the opportunity. This was great. Had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And we've got Mark came by to stop by and say hi. We have Gina, who's coming to us from far away. She is not a New Yorker. And of course, we've got
thank you. I love you too.
So we appreciate you joining us today. Make sure you visit us back next Monday at 2 p.m. where we'll be talking about a new topic. Make sure you follow me on social media to find out what it is. See, that's how I'm engaging you. I'm making you work for it. So our topic is going to be of relevance, and there'll be a very valuable sheet that you will be able to implement into your business right away. So I hope we see you there next Monday at 2. And Gina is saying Texas. I wanted to make sure because I wasn't sure if it was Texas or Oklahoma. Sorry, Gina. I've been meeting too many people in Master Networks all across the world. It's hard to keep track of where they're from. So thank you, Gina, and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and start kicking your personal branding this week with help from Rob Genovesi. Enjoy the rest of your day.